Hello and welcome back to Belmont Bunch today, doing the Atlantic Division. Very excited. This is a division that actually has a lot of stuff going on.
Hey, wait, Tom, why is your first pick, why is Buffalo there? Why is that there, man?
Why wouldn't they be? I have Buffalo at last in this division. Hot take, I know, but it is just not looking very good. And on and off the ice, with Jack Eichel, with the situation going on with that, being stripped of the captaincy, not a great situation going on here, and probably not a place that people want to play right now. So you've got Jeff Skinner, Middlestat, and Olofsson as the top line. Could be okay. Past that, Cousins, Asplund, Tage Thompson. Like, it's just guys that are being forced way up a lineup. Obviously, it's good. It could be good for their development in terms of, I get a lot more minutes. I'll get, to go through a lot of losing, but hopefully at the end of it, I'll have, gotten better out of playing so much. We'll see. Or you could just be depressed because you're playing in Buffalo and the team's really struggling. It's not a shot against the city of Buffalo. That's a shot against the weather. How dare you, weather? But at least the third line has a little bit of experience. You've got Gergensons, Bjork, and Hinostroza. So, just a NHL line, which is something they need. And the defense, you've got Dahlin back, but Adam Pelech is making less, so that's an L. Yoki Haru, another year, we'll see. Haig comes in for some physical influence. Colin Miller, Pissick, and Will Butcher comes in. So a little bit of playing around with the defense there. Probably maybe a net positive from defense, but that's a shame because the goaltending is horrible. You've got Craig Anderson. I thought he was retired. Not anymore. And you've got Aaron Dell. Very bad. This is going to be a very bad team. I can move on. At 7, we have the Detroit Red Wings. Going to be interesting this year. I was a little bit higher on them. I think I had them one spot higher. And then Jacob Vrana got hurt and is going to miss 4 months. He looked great in his short stint last year with the Red Wings. Decent offseason, though. Some slight improvements, and maybe more than slight. So on the left side, you still have Bertuzzi, Fabry, Nemestikov, and Giovanni Smith. Bertuzzi, it's going to be interesting with the vax situation. He's going to miss the Canadian games. Overall, it's not a ton of games, so we'll see. This is also a team that's just looking to develop still. On the right side, Zadina, Raymond, Ernie, and Gagne. Not too bad. Rasmussen down the middle on the third line. Mitchell Stevens on the fourth. Pius Suter, who looked pretty good for Chicago, I believe, last year. And Dylan Larkin, who is coming off an injury season. Hopefully it gets a little bit better for him. Because the offense here, not great. Some decent stuff there. Maybe Zadina, Fabry, and Bertuzzi, but we shall see. Defensively, they get Nick Leddy for basically nothing. Actually, they gave up a second rounder. You know what? Not too bad. It's going to make them better immediately. DeKaiser, Hronik, Seider. Moritz Seider, obviously, it's the big one. If he's good, no matter what else happens this season, I feel like as Detroit, you're like, okay, good. We've got that guy. Mark Stahl, Troy Stetcher. Stetcher's still pretty good. So it's a team that not going to be good, but they have some guys that are going to be very competitive. The goaltending could be pretty decent. Nedeljkovic comes in. I liked what I saw with him in Carolina. And Thomas Greiss, who I just like. So Thomas Greiss has been pretty good still, even with a pretty bad Detroit team. So even up there in age, he still gets the job done. When Vrana comes back, I expect them to be a little bit feisty, but before then, pretty tough. Number 6, we have Ottawa. Sorry, I don't know why I said it like that. Ottawa, the Ottawa Senators. So we've mostly been going forward back. I'm going to start with the goaltending for Ottawa because I'm very, not very high on Matt Murray. Nobody is. Anton Forsberg. This is not going to be a great experiment back here. So goaltending is not going to bail them out. Then you move up to defense. Shabbat has been great offensively. You've got Artem Zub, who kind of broke out last year, pretty decent. Eric Brandstrom, can they please start unlocking his potential? Zaitsev, Delzato, Holden, passable. So the defense not looking great. The offense without Brady Tkachuk is going to be in real trouble. So that has complicated things. Detroit and Ottawa, I've gone back and forth on. I think they're very close. Vrana getting hurt, I had Detroit ahead. I moved them back. Now with Brady Tkachuk, I mean, these teams are just kind of a toss-up. Some stuff was shown with Ottawa last year in the back half. Down the middle, Josh Norris gets a shot now. Connor Brown, I really like. Tim Stützle, obviously. They bring in Zach Sanford. We'll see how that will go. Logan Brown was getting much time anyway. And Formenton maybe can break out. Without Brady Tkachuk, it's going to look a lot more dire. So this is a team that's still nowhere close to the playoffs. Nice optimistic way to stop that one. Here comes the hot take. All right, in 5th place, not in a wild card spot, we have last year's Cup finalists, the Montreal Canadiens. Not getting back in. Montreal, I do think we have to remember that they kind of got in by the skin of their teeth and then beat Toronto. Everyone's beaten Toronto in the playoffs. Sorry, I had to get a shot in. It's still not. It's going to be a very competitive team. Probably high 80s, I think, in points. Toffoli's still good. Suzuki progressing. Cole Caulfield, a lot of hype there. He looked pretty good last year in the little bits that we saw him. Josh Anderson, very streaky, very physical. Let's see what happens. Getting a lot of money. Dvorak comes in. How is he going to compare to Philip Deneau? Probably net even. Jonathan Drouin, hopefully everything's good with him. He had a lot of mental health stuff that he went through, and I hope it's a Robin Leonard situation where we're all happy for him at the end of it. I love Yoel Armia. He just is a really good glue guy who can score. And Jake Evans, hopefully he's okay. I think he's the one that got run over by Scheifele at the end of last year. And Brendan Gallagher, who's just like always a pest and a great asset to a team when you can have a pest like that. Arturi Lehkonen, Paquette, and Perreault, some experience for the 4th line. So this is an experienced group. At the bottom, I'm pretty youthful near the top now, which is pretty exciting. Is it Joel or Yoel? I'll go with Joel Edmondson. Pretty decent last year. Jeff Petrie has been really, a lifeline for this team for a few years, offensively and defensively. David Savard comes in, pretty good fit without, their gallant captain this year in Shea Weber. It's going to be difficult. Alex Romanov, maybe he takes a step this year. Ben Sherratt, Chris Weidman, we'll see. So it could be okay-ish defensively. Paul Byron hopefully gets back. Mike Hoffman signed. That could be very helpful for the offense too. Jake Allen and Carey Price. Carey Price has just been okay the last few years. So this feels like just the picture perfect, just outside the playoff team to me. Here's another scalding hot take. Coming in at a wild card spot here in the Atlantic, we'll use the Atlantic red, is the Toronto Maple Leafs. First and foremost, getting out in front of this as an Islander fan, this is not a vindictive, you know what, they're not so good. No, this is more of a, first of all, remember the Islanders were 4th in their division last year and beat the 1 seed, so that can happen. I think Toronto, it's going to take time. There's been a bit of turnover, so they could get going eventually, but I think at the beginning it'll be a bit of a challenge. You've got Ritchie coming in. I kind of like Nick Ritchie coming in with Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner. He's had a pretty good preseason. Don't know what to take out of that, but we'll see. John Tavares, William Nylander. Awesome. They're still going to score a lot of goals. No more Hyman. We'll see what happens with that. I think that's going to be a big loss. And Mikheyev, I don't think quite equals out, what he would have added. Third line, Kampf, Kasha, Kerfoot. Still like Kerfoot. Kasha is always hurt. Kampf is just a guy. Michael Bunting comes in. Had a good year last year, but it could, I think it was a high shooting percentage thing. So we'll see, but it's a good attempt. Maybe he'll just pop off. He's 4th line anyway, so we'll see. Spezza comes back, and Simmons, good veteran influence for a 4th line. So not terrible. A little bit more depth would be nice. Defensively, actually a pretty good unit. They have a reputation that probably isn't fair, which is, they score a lot, but they can't defend. They defended all right last year. It'll be interesting to see how it happens against the whole league again instead of just the Canadian division. But Riley, still very good. TJ Brody's been awesome for them. Muzzin, coming off a scary injury. Sorry, that was 2 off seasons ago. It feels like Tavares had the scary injury last offseason, but Muzzin, Hull, Hull, they were able to keep. They lost Jared McCann. That could come back to bite them. Dermott and Sandin. A lot of potential there. So we'll see what happens. And Dermott, maybe in more sheltered minutes, gets an opportunity to work his way back up the lineup. But not too bad there. In goal, it's not super high upside. But Campbell and Mrazek, they can hold off. I think Campbell's going to be the starter. Mrazek is just all over the place. Sometimes he's great, sometimes he's terrible. And this team feels like they're going to be good. Maybe they'll get going by the playoffs. Maybe they'll make some moves. But for now, a team that I think is just good enough for the playoffs. Can you believe these hot takes? Can you believe them? Can you? All right. In third place, we have the Florida Panthers. For Florida, very excited about their offseason. They still have a lot of depth scoring-wise. Very excited for Owen Tippett, who scored twice in their preseason game the other night against the Lightning. That was fun. Huberdeau, Barkov, these guys are going to be steady. Carter Verhaeghe, they've found something there that I wish the Islanders did. Sam Bennett has turned it around and is reaching towards that potential that he was drafted at. Joe Thornton comes in quest of a cup. Bold choice to go to a team that hasn't won a playoff series since '96, but I respect it. Anthony Duclair, I really like as a middle six option. Mason Marchment, tough guy. Could be fun to watch him against the Lightning this year in that budding rivalry. Vetrano, Achari, Hornquist, pretty good unit there. So the forwards, really like it. Very excited for that. Mackenzie Weegar has been developing into a great defenseman, both offensively and defensively. Aaron Ekblad, hopefully he's okay. He gets back. This team's got a really solid, really, really good top pair. Montour and Forsling, they've been pretty good for Florida. Zito's done a good job as GM of kind of rebuilding this defense. Now, it was tough during the Tampa Bay series last year. I attribute it more to it's tough. I can't throw it all on Bobrovsky and then also say the defense was good. So maybe there's still room for the defense to get better in that, past the first pairing. Because Dredger was really good and Spencer Knight was very good. So the defense has a little bit forward momentum possibly still to grow. But Ekblad coming back, that would have been helpful in the playoffs last year. Would have made it less of a shooting gallery. And goaltending is worrying. Spencer Knight, you don't want to overwork him year one. We've seen Carter Hart struggle, and you don't want to put Spencer Knight through that same thing. So Bobrovsky probably going to have to put his body on the line this year. And we'll see. I hope it works out. All right, in second place, the Boston Bruins. And I'm actually going to start again at goaltending for them because I'm very excited. They have added Linus Ullmark. This feels kind of like when Robin Lehner got out of Buffalo a few years ago and just, had an amazing season with the Islanders. Linus Ullmark, I think, is in great position to do that because the Bruins still have a pretty good defense. And I think Linus Ullmark's a pretty good goalie. Jeremy Swayman showed a lot last year, too. And they're probably expected to re-sign Tuukka Rask, who won't be back until, I think, Christmas at the earliest. So if he comes back, a lot of depth in goals, so that's very exciting. Working our way up, we start with the defense. Forbort, that's going to be interesting. That's a key spot this year. Can he work with McAvoy? Can he play that many minutes? We'll see. McAvoy can make a lot of guys look better, so we'll see if that happens. Carlo and Grzelcyk, decent pairing. Hopefully Carlo, though, a lot of concussions for him, so they have to have, I think, a plan B in case that doesn't work out. And luckily, Connor Clifton is somebody I really like, who brings a little bit of grit and brings a little bit of offensive talent. So really like Connor Clifton, not just because he went to Quinnipiac. Mike Riley was awesome last year. I think maybe he and Forbort should flip and get Riley with McAvoy. We'll see, but I think a pretty decent unit there. And then we get up to the forwards. And Brad Marchand is just Brad Marchand. He's like getting better with age. Bergeron, Pasternak, one of the best lines in the league. Again, up there with the Tampa first line and the Colorado first line. Taylor Hall really seems to like it in Boston. Really looking good. Gave the Islanders hell. Down the middle, they lose David Krejci. And Coyle and Haula, it feels like a fluid situation where those guys, whoever's the hot hand, is going to move up. Craig Smith on the right. They got DeBrusk currently slotted for the third line. Might be a better role for him. He has not been great the last few years. And so maybe kind of a reset there with Haula and Foligno can get him back going again. Frederic, Nosek, and Lazar. I actually like that fourth line. I like Trent Frederic as a real tough guy who might be able to cause some net front presence stuff going on. Nosek, decent time with Vegas. And Lazar, just happy to get out of Buffalo and showed some stuff last year as a hardworking fourth liner. So Boston, I almost had them winning the division, but I never wrote them down, so I should write them down now. Oh, scalding hot take. Tampa Bay winning the division. All right, so unshockingly, I have Tampa Bay. Oh, that's a terrible pun again. The Lightning, unshocking. Tom, doing a terrible job of not making terrible puns today. So, a lot of losses for the Lightning in the offseason. That's part of the reason I almost had Boston winning the division, and I do think Boston has a shot at it. So, first line right now is Point, Palat, Kucherov, still real good. Killorn, Cirelli, Stamkos, second, very, very good. Third line, this is going to be the key this year, I think. So they lost their whole Stanley Cup third line. Coleman, Goodrow, and Yanni Gourde. That's a problem. That's going to take time to, I guess, fill in. Because that was a unit that could score and could punch you in the face. Or cross-check you in the back of the neck. Sorry, Brock Nelson. So it's going to be, I think that they're going to have to find their identity a little bit, but getting Corey Perry to play on that line, they know Ross Colton from the Stanley Cup run, who scored the game-winning goal in the Stanley Cup's deciding game, so that's pretty cool for a rookie. And Matthew Joseph, who I still like as a two-way, I don't know how to say that, two-way forward. So that third line, it'll take a little bit of time, but I think it will heal, and having Perry as the guy to teach them is the perfect pest to do it. The fourth line, Belmar, Radish, and Maroon, youth, a little bit of youth, a little bit of veteran influence. Should still be pretty pesky for other teams. Defensively, very, very deep. They've managed to hold on to Chernak and Ruda. They still have McDonough, Sergachev, and Hedman on their left side. Absurd. Cal Foote will get a shot this year. Not a lot of responsibility, so we'll have time to get acquainted. In goal, I guess the only... I already said the third line will be a little bit different. A weakness could be backup goalie Brian Elliott. Not much faith in Brian Elliott as the backup, but we know that Vasilevsky can start a ton, so he probably will. I wonder if this is a team, depending on cap situation, that goes for a backup goalie at some point this year. Maybe Thomas Greiss. That would be a nightmare. But yeah, Tampa Bay still winning this division. I think Corey Perry will be really big in getting that third line back up and running. And yeah, that's what I've got. We're going to do the Metro next. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. I'm begging you. And for the audio portion of this podcast, you can hit the link in the description. It's on Apple and Spotify. So go there if you're tired of my face. And we'll see you next time on Belmont Bunch.